Hey BookTube, here is an end of September book haul. I'm Jen and I talk about audiobooks, and I know we just did this, but let's do it again. I have a ton of books here, and actually I filmed this video 3 times at least, and I keep buying more books. And then I get to the end of the day and I think, oh, I've got to edit that video, but I already bought more books. So 3rd time's a charm, hopefully. So let me tell you about these books I bought. First up, my kid went to Portland, Oregon and went to Powell's bookstore. So I was so happy when she texted me and said, what books can I get for you? And so I sent her a big list and she was overwhelmed, but she did find 3 books that really helped me out. So I had the 1st and 3rd books in the Legend trilogy by Mariel. This is YA dystopian. In fact, this one is signed. And I didn't have the 2nd book, so she picked up Prodigy for me. So now I have a complete set. And only the last one is signed because I bought it signed, but hopefully I can get this signed, all of them signed at Yallfest, hopefully this year. Then I had the 2nd and 3rd books in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor, and I didn't have the 1st book, so she picked up Daughter of Smoke and Bone for me. So now I have all 3. These 2 are signed. This one isn't. Hopefully I can get that done at Yallfest also. And last one, I had the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, and I had paperback, oh, it should be like this. I had paperback, and hardback, and I wanted them all to match. And these are all signed too, of course. So she picked me up a paperback of Rune and Rising because it was easier than trying to find these 2 in hardback. So now I have the whole set in paperback. They all match, and this one needs to be signed. Yeah, once again, maybe Yallfest will bail me out of that. Then every time I go into Dollar Tree, I check out their book section. And in fact, recently when I went in there, I spent about 15 minutes reorganizing the whole thing because I couldn't find anything. And I thought, I don't know how these people expect to sell any books if they're not going to have it organized. Well, they don't care. They're selling everything else in the whole store for $1. So I know it's a low priority for them, but hopefully it'll stay maybe a little bit organized. Maybe. So here's what I found. A Christmas to Remember. This is by, well, it's a collection of short stories. And I saw Jill Shalvis and Kristen Ashley and then some other people. And when I saw Jill Shalvis, I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be good. It's just short stories for Christmas, adult romance, or new adult romance probably too. So this will be nice to have, to just kind of dip in and out of. I'm kind of liking that short story collection kind of thing. I've read a couple of them recently and I really liked them. So the only thing I don't like is mass market paperback, but maybe I can deal with my first world problem there. I found Divided by Elsie Chapman. This is the sequel to Duology, which this is YA dystopian, and I love the premise of this book. I read it a long time ago, and I forget who narrates it. If I think of it, I'll put it down here. But here's the 1st book, Duology. And in this dystopian world, you are born with an identical twin, and you're raised separately. It's like clones. And the way that they keep the population in control is that you have to kill your it's called an alternate. You have to kill your alternate like sometime between your 13th and 18th birthday. And so it's like the survival of the fittest. So kick-ass heroine, good story. It's really underrated, but I wish it would get more attention because it's really good. So found that, just need to find Duology now. I often confuse that with another series that I have, and I can never keep them straight. Then I found Angelology. This is by Danielle Trussoni. It is book 2 in what should have been a trilogy. But the author, I think what happened was she was going through some stuff in her life after she wrote this book, and so she didn't write the 3rd book because of everything that was going on. She has a memoir that just came out, and so I don't know if she'll get back to this trilogy and write the 3rd book, but I doubt it. Because in cases like this, it doesn't often happen. This came out, I think, in 2013. I looked it up. On audio, it's narrated by Edoardo Ballerini. It's the second book. The first book is called Angelology. And these books are not very highly rated on Goodreads, but I don't know. It's pretty. You know, for $1, I thought, if nothing else, it'll look pretty on my shelf. So, I don't know. Hopefully I can get them both on audio and read them. Although I did hear that this ends on a cliffhanger. And if there isn't a third book, I don't know. I don't know. Wish I had known that before I got it home. But it was $1, so I'm okay with that. Then I was on my way somewhere else, and I stopped at Books & Co., which is affiliated with the Books A Million. It's just another store that they own, and I love their bargain section because it's always full of stuff. I always find stuff. So I picked up The Museum of Extraordinary Things by Alice Hoffman, which I did already own, but in my efforts to send my good friend Elena of Elena Reads Books some Alice Hoffman books, I threw this in thinking, oh yeah, she'll enjoy that. Not realizing that she and I read that together, like Buddy read it. And so I had notated it. And so she sent me a message back and said, thank you so much for sending me your annotated copy. And I thought, oh, shoot. So, duh. Don't get old. This kind of stuff happens when you get old. So just avoid it at all costs. So now I have my own copy again, and I still feel like an idiot, but yeah, it wasn't that expensive, so I picked up another copy, so I'd have one. I also picked up Nightbird by Alice Hoffman. This is wonderful. It's a middle grade book about a girl in Massachusetts whose family is cursed so that all the boys are born with wings, and it's how she goes about breaking the curse. On audio, it's narrated by Jenna Lamia, so of course I love it because I love her narration, and it's just a really sweet little book. So when I found it in hardback, I was thrilled. Shipbreaker by Paolo Bacigalupi. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. Yeah, Bacigalupi. I wrote notes on the back. On audio, it is narrated by Joshua Swanson, and this should be interesting. This is basically a YA dystopian, like a post-apocalyptic. It's more that than dystopian. So it's a post-apocalyptic YA book about a boy who is in a job like picking pieces. I think he gets metal off of a ship in like New Orleans that's been devastated by global warming and other things. A post-oil, post-global warming future, the author said, where this boy needs to escape his terrible life and go on to a better future. And I watched a video where this author was interviewed, and he said that this was his commentary on the state of the climate right now and of environmental issues. And so, okay, he said he writes in order to educate and also to explain. And I thought, well, okay, books like that can get really preachy. So I don't know how this is going to go. I think this author is somebody that you really like or you really just don't like. But I'm willing to give him a try because there are a couple of awards that this was nominated for and I think won. So yeah, could be good. I'm probably going to grab it on audio and I'll let you know. And this is a funny one. It's called Every Soul a Star by Wendy Mass. It is, I think it's probably middle grade. I'm not sure. But I get that impression. It's about 3 friends who view a rare solar eclipse and basically how it affects them. On audio, it is narrated by Jessica Almasy, Ali Ahn, and Mark Turetsky. And I picked it up off the shelf wanting to scan it and kind of get the synopsis and see what it was rated on Goodreads. It's rated really highly on Goodreads. And then I just walked around with it in my hand. I forgot to put it back on the shelf. So I got to the cash register and I paid for everything. And I thought, wait, that's a little more money than I thought it was going to be. And I looked and this was in there. I had already bought and paid for it. See, remember what I said about getting old? Yeah, don't do it. It's a bad idea. Hopefully this is a really good book. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted, but duh. And then I went over to their wall of autographed books. You should always do that if you care about signed books, and I do. And they have a lot of people that come in and out, authors who kind of do signings and that kind of thing. And I saw The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Ahdieh. This is a YA fantasy. It's a retelling of the Arabian Nights, and I really liked it. The first book, it's a duology, and the first book is called The Wrath and the Dawn. I wouldn't recommend it on audio because it doesn't, I don't like the narrator. Maybe you would, but I just didn't know. So yeah, signed copy, yay, and there it is. So I grabbed that. And then I was at Costco the other day, and I don't normally walk by their, well, I walk by their book section, but I don't normally get anything because they don't have a great selection. But when I saw these things, they jumped into my hands, and I couldn't resist. Yes, they actually jumped. It's like off the shelf into my hand. At Frost Like Night by Sara Raasch. I have the first 2 books in this trilogy. It's the Snow Like Ashes trilogy. And so this had just come out, and I don't have it yet on audio. I just need to download it, actually. So, yeah, I've read the other 2 books in the trilogy. It's YA fantasy, and I like it. It's a good series. And the other 2 books are signed, of course. Yallfest, we'll see. I don't know. And then this book really, I swear, did jump off the shelf and into my cart. It's The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron, and I had seen Jen from Reading with Pugs haul this. So I grabbed it on audio and I listened to it, and I had just finished it when I was in Costco, like the night before. I'd been up till like 3 in the morning listening because I couldn't go to sleep. It was so good. So when I saw it, I couldn't believe it because I thought, wow, I just got that. I just listened to that on audio. So I grabbed it. It's so good. It's a combination, kind of a mishmash of a dystopian and sci-fi and a little bit of fantasy thrown in, but it's really more sci-fi than anything else. The tree on the front is significant, and it's YA, but boy, it's so good. It's narrated by someone I can't remember. I can't remember. I'll put it down here. But it's so good. So good on audio. I can't wait to tell y'all about it in a wrap-up, which I will do soon. And lastly, I was at in my town where I go to do my grocery shopping. There isn't much there because it's a small town. But they have a bookstore, and I didn't realize that. So I thought, well, I have time today, I will just go in. And so I did, and it's teeny tiny. I mean, the whole thing is maybe like 10 feet wide, which is the size of an aisle at Barnes & Noble. So, you know, and they had like a center, like shelf thing, and the shelves on the other side. And it's just one little area. And so it's attached to a coffee shop. And I'm pretty sure that's probably how they stay in business, is with the coffee shop, because they didn't have a big selection of anything, but what books they did have were really good selections of books. So they had some new releases that were all good. They had a great YA section. They have actually another room as you walk through in the back that's all kids' books. So I ended up talking with the lady at the cash register. I think she's the owner, and I was talking about a book that I just had reviewed on audio, and it hadn't come out yet. I think it's about to come out, or it maybe just came out. But I was talking to her about it, and I told her it was amazing, and so she stood and ordered it right then. It's kind of cool. So I ended up buying a book because I want to support my local bookstore. I think you should always do that. And even if it's just one book every couple of months, you're doing your part, you know. So I found The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. It's a beautiful copy. Just a really pretty book, and I love this book. On audio, it's narrated by Cassandra Campbell, and she is phenomenal with all the accents she does, especially because a lot of it happens with people who are French. And yeah, great book, magical realism, and I think it's YA. I think it is. So anyway, that is my book haul. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them. I have not read some of them. I haven't read Frost Like Night. I haven't read Every Soul a Star or Shipbreaker, and I think, or Angelopolis, or this little collection of short stories. So if you've read any of those things, let me know what you thought. And yeah, I guess we'll talk about it in comments. And that's it for now from me. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.